Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at ubnradio.com.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
We made it.
We made it. A couple minutes late. You know, when you lose those headsets, it really stinks. Makes starting the show harder, but we're so happy to be here. This is Distill It, a 360-degree view of life and sports. I'm Wendy Rosenthal, and I'm here with my lovely, amazing partner, who I haven't seen in 12 whole days.
Isn't that wild?
Ava Schwitzer.
We missed each other.
We missed each other a lot.
I know.
It really is not right.
Though. It's not.
Yes,
it is not right.
But you had a good trip?
Yeah, you too?
Yeah, it was really good.
Nice.
More importantly than the trip,
yes,
the World Cup started.
Oh. Today's a bittersweet day.
I know.
Very bittersweet day.
I know. Croatia made it through.
And Nigeria did not. But they were so close. So close.
They won. They won a game.
They won a game. They did amazing.
They did
amazing this tournament. We won't discuss Colombia's first loss because we had an amazing game on Sunday.
I got to tell you something. I was in shock.
Why? That we won?
No, that you lost.
Oh,
are you
first
kidding
game,
me?
I was beside myself.
Yeah. I was happy I wasn't near you. I really was. I was very happy.
It was not a
around
pretty
you.
sight.
Welcome. We were just having we were catching up. We haven't seen each other in 12 days. We're very happy to have you join us today. As you know, we are here every other Tuesday at the amazing UBN radio network in downtown Hollywood.
Gotta stop with that. She calls us downtown Hollywood. Is it? Is it downtown Hollywood?
I think it is.
So.
Don't you think?
Hollywood.
I think it is.
Isn't it?
It's downtown. It's downtown.
Just Hollywood.
Is Hollywood big enough to have a downtown?
It is.
Just Hollywood.
They have a mayor. They have a mayor. If they're big enough to have a mayor.
real mayor?
A real mayor.
Oh,
He
wow.
comes out at the Christmas parade every year.
Are we
Johnny
sure
Grant.
about that?
Are we sure about that?
Yeah, well. Anyways, you can hear we have an amazing show for you today because
a studio full of guests.
Yes, because we are very fortunate and lucky to have been connected with a group called the League Ambassadors. They are a set of friends, just like Ara and I, who love sports, just like Ara and I, who've decided to take their love of sports to the next level, just like Ara and I. So we couldn't
And they have
not
their
have
own
them.
show.
And they have their
here
own
on our show. which is so
vidcast,
cool.
and they are doing wonderful things. They're funny, they're bright, they're topical. It's a great group of guys who range in age. I gotcha. Kenyon, you're what, like 23? Is there anybody in this room who's older than me? I doubt it. Come on, Omar.
I'm 42.
Oh, God, then I really am the oldest person in this room. Because you don't look anywhere near close enough.
I'm 40.
Okay, see?
I'm actually 34.
No way.
You are not.
Black
You are
don't crack.
nuts.
He's such a baby.
We told you this is going to be a fun show. So everything's going to get jumbled up. There is no topic. We just wanted to sit and talk with these guys because what they do a little bit differently than what we do is they do really focus on sports and analysis, what's going on in games across football, basketball, boxing. You'll cover any sport, but those are your favorites, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we kind of are more lifestyle oriented. So we look at things like emotional intelligence around sports, and we thought it would be really fun to mix
This
things
is going to be fun.
to get the banter going.
At the end
like
of the
man
show, we will tell
kryptonite.
each of you how emotionally intelligent we think you are.
Exactly.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Okay. So before we get started, which I think will be on a very fun show, we have to do a couple of things. One, we want to let you know that if you do want to call in and disagree with anything we're saying, make comments,
Or ask questions.
blow raspberries, ask questions, you can do so at 323-284-7826 or on Skype at UBN Radio 1 Guest. Or you can comment on our Facebook pages. We're hoping that if you, again, want to comment, dispute, criticize, throw tomatoes, you can do that through the comment section of our Facebook page. And I love it when somebody calls me right in the middle of the show. It's always fun.
They should know better.
Exactly. And last but not least, before we kick off the session, as many of you know, I always wear a different hat on every show. And again, I was like, what the heck am I going to wear today? And then I remembered that half your crew, who are unfortunately not here,
The ones who aren't here.
the ones that aren't here, Devin, Kevin, and Joe.
She's got a special shout out for you guys.
I do. You all live in Baltimore. And I thought, in tribute to the great competitive nature of the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, of whom I am a personal and dedicated fan of, that I would wear this hat just to kind of rub it in your faces a little bit, because I think we're going to kick your asses this year. So,
they're going to love this.
so in honor of you, when you're watching this back,
That
or if you're
answers one
watching
question.
now, we wish you were here. This is because you dissed us, because you couldn't fly all the way in from Baltimore or join us by Skype, or Zoom.
Or Zoom.
You hear
Exactly.
that,
There
Kevin?
are ways. There are ways.
There are ways.
Disrespect is real.
Anyway, we totally miss you. Before we get started, I do want to ask you guys to give, 30 seconds on what the League Ambassadors are, why we think you guys are great, and what are your two vidcasts that you are doing. What
He's a
you're missing.
loquacious one right here. So
You're so funny.
Boy, that's a big word.
First of all, thank
I
you
love
for
it.
having,
Wait till you hear him speak.
thank you for having this one.
I didn't even properly introduce you.
Yeah, well, I'll do it.
Okay,
We're
go for it.
We're the League Ambassadors. I'm Kenyon. That's Omar.
Or Canyon, as your mom says when she's pissed off at you.
Canyon.
I tell y'all nothing.
Les, I know, right? Giving out all the secrets. And then we've got Les, Junior Blue, Red O, Kenny Ken. We also have Devin, who we affectionately call the dad. Kevin, Chef Curry. If you go to our website or watch any of our shows, you'll see why he's Chef Curry. And then we have Coach Joe as well.
Because he's
actually
Dale's other kid.
he's actually a head coach for St. Bernard's, which is a local high school here. We started about 2 years ago, and basically it was just one of those things where we had been talking for some time. We've all been friends for pretty close to 20 years, over 20 years.
Since you were born.
In the instance, exactly, in the instance
From
of Devin
birth.
and Kevin, they're brothers. But just, you have those conversations.
Really, they're
where
brothers, Devin and Kevin.
Devin and Kevin are brothers,
That's
yes.
kind of not nice, isn't it? It's like,
You should meet Daddy. His name is Slug.
So,
okay,
That's not his real name.
I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave it alone.
but that's what he's affectionately known as.
It makes sense.
So, just conversation. We should, do something together, and settled on sports, but sports in America is oversaturated. And so we put some thought into it and understood that the popular American sports, NFL, MLB, NBA, they're all looking to grow their games globally. The internet makes the world a smaller place. And 90% of what we talk about in our daily conversation is centered around sports.
Yeah.
So why not create content to engage that emerging fan base, that global fan base? And so we started with our flagship show, which is called 32 Kings Road. We do
I
that.
did tell you I used to live off the Kings Road, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. And so we did that because the NFL is really trying to aggressively break through in the UK. And so we shoot that during football season. That's an hour show that we do once a week. And then during the off season, typically starting around March Madness to the end of July, we have our second show, which is called Confirmation Bias.
Yeah.
And in that show, 30-minute show, we do that twice a week. We cover all sports. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit more details in that, but that's basically the gist of it. We've been doing it now for 2 years. We just actually shot our 100th podcast, our episode.
Congratulations.
Combined with the two shows. So that was a pretty big thing for us, and we're having a lot of fun.
Now, I want to just kick it off because I love confirmation bias, but I want to understand it a little bit more. Like, confirmation bias. You have your little, your bias. Is that the way that?
Well,
tell people what the flow is. 'Cause
It's from
really
a fan
funny.
perspective, and if you are a fan of a team, of any team, you are biased. And usually,
Like I said, Pittsburgh is going to kick the Ravens' ass this year, right?
And if you're biased, that means logic kind of goes out the window.
Right.
So your arguments will lean towards confirming your bias, whether it's factual or not. And that's what that's the best thing about being a fan.
Yeah.
And that's what we are. From like more than anything, we're just fans, and we wanted to do it from a fan perspective. So we thought it was a perfect name.
So there's more segments in the show, like compared to 32 Kings Road. There's segments. It moves faster. Like I said, it's a 30-minute show.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's either hot topics or we have sort of the historical perspective that we bring in for both of our shows. But with confirmation bias, because we do cover all sports, there's some sports that we aren't as familiar with, that aren't as native to us, and so we like to have guests on when we can to sort of learn about these sports as well, but learn about it from our perspective, which tends to be more digestible and also entertaining because, we kind of put our own spin on it and really make, we really aspire to make our guests feel comfortable, being on with us and sort of just tackle things from a different perspective.
We don't. That's why we put you all three really close together so that
isolate
you'd
us.
like be sitting on top of each other.
But I've got lots of room.
Yeah, Aaron's like,
Oh, back of the
like,
bus.
And he's
Okay.
off.
But
I'm sorry.
We're going to
But
have
one
to
of
mute
the
his
se- one of
mic
the
very
se-
soon.
one of the segments we have is You With It or Nah, which is a debate segment that
Yeah.
we have.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where a lot of the confirmation bias is wrapped up in, because we give topics. We have two people each side, and basically you have 2 minutes to go at it, and then we have someone on the team judge, and is their bias confirmed or not? So that's one of my favorite segments because I'm always in it for some reason.
Because we got to get him to talk. Make sure you ask Les a lot of questions.
Oh, that's
Okay,
Otherwise,
Okay.
But we're talking about confirmation bias in the context of sports. But as we know, and as we say here at the distillery, sports is a metaphor for life.
Yes.
And really, that's the nature of humans, isn't it? It's what we all do. We walk through lives with our biases and really doing nothing more than confirming them. So
That's right.
more often than not, we're engaging discussion really sort of just to reiterate what we already believe and affirm ourselves.
you try not to. I mean, I think, part of personal development, right, is sort of being objective and,
Right.
and understanding that you don't know everything. And so
Sure.
even though you have your biases and sort of innately look to confirm them, I think, real growth happens when you allow yourself to be exposed to different ideas, different
Right.
concepts, and maybe then you can evolve better as a person. Isn't that right, Redo?
Check out the big brain on Brad. If you don't
You
get
guys
out
are
of
trying
here.
to grow. You're using big words again, right?
No, I don't know who that is. There's a term called First and Front Street. That's where he's at right now. I'm just playing.
right.
I agree what you said, which is that's what people do on a daily basis
Right.
without even knowing it half the time.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
but
it's-
growth is just that. That's exactly it. I mean, hopefully we're open enough to hear someone else's opinion and to want to explore something beyond our own set of beliefs. Hopefully.
I'm sorry. I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, there are some just not right things that I could never get you to go upon, like beyond.
Oh, it's true.
Like
Oh,
social media. It's
I am
just not
biased.
right.
I am biased.
Totally biased.
Yes.
I'm
All
with
right.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Social
It doesn't
media
exist to
is
him.
safe.
He's still playing Atari 2500.
All right.
I still make calls from a phone booth.
Do they exist? I'm
They
trying
do.
I'm trying
He
to
has
actually
his own. He travels with his own.
They do.
So funny. Okay. So I want a little flavor of what your show is like. So you're gonna have to bring it up. Now I saw something that you guys were talking about. Poor Messi, and how
Poor Messi. Why? First of all, why?
oh
Well, it's a
because
bad day for her. It's a
It-
bad day for
well
her.
no
It's-
Croatia made it
I mean, they
through.
won.
Croatia
but-
made it through, but Argentina did beat Nigeria. but
I know.
But Messi, poor Messi. Why?
No, not poor Messi, but because he
Well,
Are you a fan of his?
Not necessarily, but he's considered the best player. Him and Ronaldo is considered the best players in the world. It's
Right.
back and forth between the two of
Between
them.
the two, yeah.
Well, the first couple games for Messi weren't that good.
Right.
So, and he's basically carrying the whole country on his back.
It's a lot
I
of
think
pressure.
he's not only carrying the whole country. Don't you think he's kind of carrying the whole team?
I
Oh,
was
no, he's
happy for
definitely
him to get a
carrying
goal
the team.
today. I really was, because my heart aches for people like
Totally.
that. They're carrying. This is a lot
Kind
of
of like a
responsibility.
LeBron thing.
Right.
You know, seriously.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know that LeBron is ever feeling the pressure of an entire nation. Like literally, they were in the stands today weeping.
Oh, well, that's it. That's it. That's the thing though about American sports. Like, it doesn't matter how invested you are in your team.
Mm-hmm.
We do not get what football means to countries, to people all around the world. It's not at the same level. You know,
Yeah.
it just isn't.
I mean, even thinking about when we have great Olympians that, and they're representing the country.
Sure.
Like, I don't ever recall
Yeah.
seeing Americans in the stands weeping.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like there is a bit of a disconnect there, and maybe it's
It's a rare thing. Maybe
It is.
Mary Lou Retton.
yeah.
it's
No.
very
Little
rare.
kids,
Yeah.
little
No,
girls
no.
emulating,
No, I mean, look, if your team loses the Super Bowl, you don't literally see grown men crying.
Right.
You don't see
I-
their disappointment,
I've cried
frustration.
I've cried at big losses for the Trojans. Big losses.
Yeah, well,
I have.
you cried.
I will never forget that.
I know.
I was
know.
there at the Rose Bowl.
I know.
To
I know you
Texas.
did.
Oh wait, you are a Trojan.
I am a
We
Trojan.
are.
Oh,
Both of
I
us.
thought she was taking shots
No,
at
no, I
Kenyon
am a
over
Trojan.
here.
I
Oh,
am
no,
a Trojan. We're
both
both Trojans.
both Trojans.
Yes.
Fight on.
Yes.
Fight on.
Don't
indeed.
fall for the bait. Don't even fight on.
So I have been there as an adult crying openly. loudly.
Oh, the Texas game.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
keep going.
the pain is real.
It is real.
I get it though. That was something. The attitude of Trojans are that y'all deserve it. So when it was taken from you,
Because we do.
you don't
did.
exactly.
It wasn't like we were slackers that we didn't lose 42-3.
We might have to escort him out of the studio a little earlier than
That's
we
okay.
had
To be
planned.
fair, I did wear the Pittsburgh Steeler hat, so we could probably take a
But
little
even
bit.
so, watching the Trojans there, and as emotionally invested as I was, it is nothing like what I am experiencing right now.
Right.
Watching Nigeria, Croatia, and Colombia in the World Cup. Nothing like
Say
this.
that one more time.
You're right. It
She
came out.
sounds a lot better saying it than any of us will. Go ahead.
Nigeria, Croatia, Colombia.
Yes, love it.
You're
We were
welcome.
trying to figure out the third. We
Yes.
were watching the game today. We was like, okay, we know it's Nigeria, Colombia, Croatia.
Croatia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you think? You think that that Messi is going to be damaged for life because of his poor performance? And he doesn't actually. I got
No.
to tell you, the first couple of games, I don't feel. And ooh, you might shoot me. I don't feel like he really was playing with his heart in it. Almost.
Right.
He didn't look like him. What do you guys think?
Look, I also think it's really challenging because we forget that these are not groups of players who are together year round.
Fair point. That's a
They're
good
not.
point.
They're
That's a fair
coming
point.
together from various parts of the world and hoping to spend a few weeks beforehand getting their bearings straight and figuring each other's quirks and tendencies and hoping to show up at the World Cup and perform well. And they might and they might not. And we judge them and criticize them for not doing what we want them to do. But at the end of the day, these are not their regular. This is not their regular team. These are not their
got
regular
it.
players year
But
round.
they're playing for their country. And oh, by the way, Betsy Davis types in SEC football, lots of crying. She is a Bama fan, as is Jarvis.
Yes.
And we don't.
So she understands.
She understands, but she always wins, so it kind of pisses us off that you're saying it. But we appreciate that you have joined us, Betsy. Thank you
Yes.
so much. And we're not going to talk about Alabama. We're just not going to do it. Even though
They get
Jarvis,
no more airtime. They get no more airtime.
Jarvis is wearing his shirt. Betsy Jarvis is representing here in the studio.
We're going to tap that ass in 2020, though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Straight like that.
Oh yeah.
Straight like that. Straight like that.
That made the
Kenyon.
magic man with the fingers very happy.
Yeah.
You see that though? He perked up a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay. All right. Any more big, big news out of the World Cup that we need to cover?
There's so much exciting stuff. No, I mean this is
It's been a great World Cup, I have to say,
It's been
because there
fun
have been
so
some
far.
surprises. Yeah.
lots of surprises. That's always the case, but now this is it. We are in the elimination phases, so next few days we get to see
People out.
who moves on.
Who
I
moves
know.
out. I'm very
I know.
excited. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about football. Now, we all sit here having to talk about lots of different sports, but football is
Yeah.
American
That's your
football.
passion.
Sorry, that's my passion.
NFL.
NFL. Thank you very much. And one of the things that we've covered a lot over the last several months is the whole controversy around kneeling. We wanted to get your guys' opinions about what's just been happening in the NFL. We have very strong opinions about it. We've voiced them, and we thought it'd be fun to hear your side of it.
To kneel or not to kneel?
I think it's to kneel, really. And the reason I say that is because the players aren't kneeling to disrespect the flag, to protest the flag, or anything like that. That's not, they're kneeling for the social injustices that happen every day.
Right.
And not just the ones that are filmed, the ones that happen when no one sees it,
Right.
when there's no body cams or no phone cameras around or no security cameras
Right.
around. That's what they're kneeling for, because it happens daily without getting any news or anything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of you know, and the thing about it is when NFL and the NFL owners don't realize what you're really protesting, and they change the narrative on it to make it seem like, hey, it's the flag, you're disrespecting the flag. Well, that's not true. That's not what it's about, and don't change it to that just to fit what you want America to think it's about.
Right.
And then to follow up and have the president turn around and make statements which honestly scared the NFL owners.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And it made them where you have to stay in the locker room. If you're gonna,
Cowards.
yeah, exactly. And that it made the NFL owners cowards.
Yep.
The
Yep.
president made billionaires cowards.
Right.
Well, I would argue he showed the world that they were already cowards.
Yeah.
But you know what they say, when adversity happens, your true self shows. So problem is, you know, I've always been weird with this because I believe in business owners. This is a private business, being able to make the rules and govern their business the way they see fit. It's just the problem is they get it wrong. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to embrace things and let the players know you are on their side, because the players are the reason why you have a business.
Right.
You know, I think that personally, I agree with both of you. This is why it's been such a really challenging conversation, because I do believe it's a private business and you have the ability to tell your employees how you want them to behave, and that's true for any of us who work any place. I agree completely that the players are kneeling for very important reasons that should not be ignored. One of the things that frustrated me a lot, I don't know how you guys felt, is that, you know, from the genesis of it with Colin Kaepernick kneeling the first time, and from that moment on, all of the messaging about why he did it in the first place got lost. And even he wasn't even able to kind of rise above it
Well,
and
he
be able
said
to
it.
get his point.
He said it. No, people decided not to listen. He wasn't kneeling at first. He was sitting down.
Right.
And then there was the veteran who told him, we kneel because it's respectful to I want to say not dead, but to the flag and to the military.
Right.
So that's why he started to kneel in the first place. So he wasn't going to be disrespectful to the flag.
Right.
So, and then for him to be told that by a veteran, and for him to do that action, and then they
You're
say
talking
no,
about Nate
Boyer.
Boyer.
and then for them to say no, this is not why you're doing it.
Right.
When we know why he's doing it.
And it's funny because we were just talking about like being open and you know, and trying to live a life where you're not just trying to have your biases confirmed. And he actually, at the start of this whole process, actually did something that not enough people, both high or low, are doing, which is to have conversations,
Right.
to how to grow and to develop an idea and to develop a philosophy that really you're understanding how to navigate, you know, sort of the treacherous angles when you're taking a public stance. And so for him to spend time with this military guy and say, listen, the military guy's like, I understand, Nate, it's like, I understand where you're coming from, but instead of sitting, can you kneel, right? And he embracing that and still staying on message and staying
Sure.
on point.
But that's-
Not enough people are really trying to, they're just allowing themselves to be consumed with whatever the propaganda is.
So that goes back to my point, because again, nobody hears that story or heard that story. That, you know, interestingly never comes out, right?
Right.
It never comes out. Do you feel like he could, that by doing what he did, and again, I'm not disagreeing with the right to protest or that he should have protested. I agree with the fact that he is trying to speak for really horrible things going on in the world right now, right? Like, let's make no mistake. But the way he did it lost him that message. Could he have come at it from a different perspective? Could he have done something different than used his platform as a high-profile, successful athlete to get his message across in a different way?
How?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. And
Because the nature of protest
there you go.
is to do something uncomfortable.
Disruptive.
You cannot protest in a nice way. Then it's not a protest.
Not nice. Just different platform.
Yeah, well, what platform is okay for protests? Because
Okay.
I've said it before, when cities riot because they're fed up and they feel like they have nowhere else to go. I don't care that you riot. I care you riot in your own neighborhood.
Right.
If you want to affect change, go shut down the mall. Go shut down an affluent neighborhood. Then when they're uncomfortable is when they start to worry about what's going on. If no one's uncomfortable, they don't care.
Right.
People change when they are made to change, because if they're comfortable in their everyday routine, why would they care? So his protest didn't go far enough.
Oh, so you think it should have gone? He should
All
have
he
done
was
more.
doing was sitting down. That's nothing. People made that a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
He didn't say a word to anybody. They came and asked him. He didn't promote that.
Do you think that not enough of his fellow athletes picked up the charge enough? Do you think if there had been more push on the athlete side, that they would have been able to kind of stave off, I should say, the comments of Donald Trump or the owners or, all of the criticism?
No, it's inevitable. Again, you create and cause disruption, you're going to get backlash.
Right.
So, that I think would happen whether all of the NFL stood united or if they didn't. I think that, we are where we are today. It has started a conversation, which is a good thing.
Right.
There is actually, let's not gloss over the fact that there has been progress made, particularly from the NFL players, in terms of being able to secure funding from these owners.
Sure.
$90 million.
Right, which money is not going to solve everything, but it's a significant step, and and they are continuing to do work.
Right.
And so I think that would you want more people to speak out? Absolutely. Do I think that if some of the leading men in the NFL had spoken out, would it have been a little bit of a different response and reaction? Absolutely.
Right.
And when I say leading men, I'm talking about quarterbacks.
Sure,
I'm talking
big
about
Hey,
big
Brady.
Right, exactly. So but at the when things get disruptive, everybody starts to look at their brand and wanting to protect their brand, and so
Absolutely.
you have that. So
And there's a built-in hypocrisy in sports that I think is being highlighted now, which is, I think, is an important thing to address, because we do look at our athletes and we expect them to perform a certain way. If there's a natural disaster, we expect them to step up and use their platform to raise money, to donate money.
Yep.
But when they want to use their platform for their own particular causes and
Right.
interests,
Shut
we
up
shut
and
them
dribble.
down.
Yeah.
And that's not okay anymore.
Yeah.
Compare that to an institution like the entertainment industry, where people are not at all uncomfortable having Robert De Niro stand up on stage at the Tonys and curse out President Trump.
right.
They applauded.
They
Right.
applauded. You get up
And
and
they
you
expect it,
say-
by the way.
You expect it, and you demand
Yeah.
you demand it. This
Yeah.
is you're an entertainer. You've got a huge
Right.
platform, and you're going to be on stage tonight. So you're
Right.
going to use this to deliver whatever message you feel happens to be.
That's
you
a
know,
great point.
Well, there's a difference also. The difference is Kaepernick is black and De Niro isn't.
Right.
The reaction is different,
Yeah.
and you can't discount that.
No, you can't. And even within the world of sports, I mean, we've certainly had Tim Tebow make his own particular protest for a variety of issues, including abortion, and that wasn't
Right.
frowned upon.
But those are the
You
same
know,
people who
it's-
are mad at Kaepernick for
Right.
kneeling, so they were happy about that.
Absolutely.
So, and then it wasn't really a protest because no one. Okay, go ahead. It's a difference because it didn't affect anyone.
It wasn't disruptive.
Yes.
You don't think it was disruptive at all?
Tim Tebow's?
Tim Tebow. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying that to even call it a protest is a little bit of a stretch because it wasn't.
It was
wasn't
more of a
disruptive.
statement.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's
But he's allowed to use his platform to say whatever he
Yes.
wants.
That's right. Exactly.
yes.
And there's no backlash.
Yep.
Yeah.
People make fun of him, but that's about it.
Right.
So
I do think, though, athletes, I think, are great at reframing things. Bad calls, bad plays, poor performances, whatever it is. I do think that Colin Kaepernick, the entire story now has to be reframed, and I do think it's time to do something different because we really have to move beyond whether or not they should stand or not stand. It's such a bigger conversation now. I think we really have to be encouraging them to really take a look at, is your message being heard? Are you delivering it in the best way possible? And let's reframe this now. Let's do something differently.
yeah, I mean, I think we all want to see athletes use their platform to the
Yeah.
good, and many times they do.
My
More times than not. Actually.
My thing is, I never thought. I always think that athletes get a raw deal because everybody can't be a revolutionary, you know. And I think sometimes there's this pressure on athletes to do because this person took a stand, you should take a stand too.
Sure.
If I don't agree with you, I'm not taking a stand with you.
Right.
Or if maybe I just don't want that pressure, that's okay.
Yeah.
It should be okay for them to not stand if they don't want to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Take that
everybody's
stand.
not built like that.
Yeah.
It's so true. No, it's, you know, you bring up such a great point because I think about it because I like to talk about myself anyway. I think about it in terms of me. I am not that kind of activist. I don't know. I love to talk. I have a voice. I support causes that I completely believe in, and I will happily do it. But I'm not one of those. I wouldn't be Colin Kaepernick out there,
Right.
despite the fact that I may be as angry at the injustices that I see. So you're absolutely right. I think that's a fantastic point.
Yeah.
Not everybody is going to be like that, and it's okay.
Yeah, and part of the problem is, you know, there's pressure on these NFL players to now back up Kaepernick, and you know, if you don't want to do it, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I feel.
And then you see players like Eric Reed who knelt with him, and now he can't get a job, and he was a Pro Bowl safety.
Yeah.
Right.
Which makes absolutely no sense.
And Colin Kaepernick can't get a job either.
Exactly.
Which on a certain level, I think is absolutely atrocious. And I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens in his lawsuit against the league because, you know, it's okay. You can argue and you can look at his stats and say, is he the best quarterback in the NFL? No.
He's better than a lot of them.
He's better than a lot of them for sure.
But Eric Reed helps his case.
Yeah,
Because
for
Eric Reed
sure.
definitely should have a job.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Because I can tell you my team definitely could use him. But Eric Reed is not getting a job at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
You
No.
know, it's called Soldier Field. They are not. That's not happening.
Sure.
And that's part of the case.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, because the NFL messed up and didn't make rules against sitting or standing for it. There was no rules. The NBA, you can't do it because they made a rule, and which is why I say the NFL messed up.
Yeah.
They messed up this whole thing. It didn't have to go here.
Right.
And sadly, unfortunately, many times the leagues do mess up. They're big, ginormous, monster money-making organizations that are in it for, and rightfully so, for the money. That's what they're there for, you know, and they mess up.
On a nuanced part about it, the NFL, their part of their business model is the shield, which means no individualism.
Right.
Exactly.
So when Kaepernick stands out, that's a problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
NBA is different because individualism is everything. So it's easier for them to get behind their players.
Didn't used to be that way, by the way. Don't you think the NBA has evolved a lot?
Yeah.
Didn't used to be about individualism. Look what happened when players started wearing, you know, outlandish clothes.
Right.
It
You
was
mean
like,
Allen Iverson. Let's talk about the reason why they changed it.
Yeah, he is the
but look
reason.
at it now. No, he is the reason.
But you know
look
what?
at it now.
I actually agreed with the NBA. They have every right to set a dress code.
Yeah.
Right.
We want you to wear this or don't come get these millions. Okay. Everybody changed, and then all of a sudden it became a thing now. Everybody wants to be the best dressed.
Sure.
They got it right in that situation
and
to
they've
me.
gone way left with that stress.
We had
Oh my gosh,
very
tell me
early
about it.
on, very early on in our show, we had Joanna Alba on, who's a fashion designer that designs all of the amazing wardrobe for a lot of the NFL players and NBA players. And she said Allen Iverson made her business.
Yeah,
he made
totally.
her career. He put her on the map. And she still is very
So it's
busy
her
dressing.
fault.
It is her fault.
We can give you her number.
Has she done Westbrook?
Yes, she does.
Yes, that's one
She
of her
does.
big clients.
What about James Harden? Because did you see the
Did
suit
she
last
give
I
him-
night?
didn't see it last night.
Did she give him the skirt?
No, I don't think she gave him the skirt.
That's actually really funny. That's really funny on a lot of levels.
Man,
Hey, I could put a picture up here when my husband and I got married. He's of Scottish descent, and he wore a kilt.
that's different.
Yeah, that's totally
If
different.
Harden would have walked in with a kilt, I would have been okay with that.
Do you know what? There are a lot of. It's a very big trend in other parts of the world for men
But that's
to wear.
not what he
quilt-
walked in. He walked in with a tutu.
Even Jarvis had to
Okay,
laugh.
you bring that up, Jarvis. We all got to see it now. I love this. We're debating the fashion. All we need is Joanna to come in. and
Was
like,
it a tutu or not?
no.
It wasn't a tutu, but it was definitely
It was enthusiastic.
It was almost like
It had
Enthusiastic.
some
I
body
like
to it. It had some body to it.
it was almost like a buff,
Yeah.
that he just wore over. It was just bad idea.
It just wasn't right. Mm-hmm.
Just wasn't right. Another one of those. Just wasn't right.
It's like his daughter was like, "Daddy, can you wear this to work today?" No.
So I'm waiting for you guys to throw some hardball questions at us. I want to be stumped here. So I'm waiting for you. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask you guys about your thoughts on.
In the meantime, she
meantime.
wants you to speak up, but not
We were
really.
waiting for
I would like to say.
Red O, you have met your counterpart.
we don't want dead air. Okay.
They have a question. Go ahead.
Go for it.
All right.
Make it a good
So
one.
yesterday, and the NFL Network completed their rolling out of the top 100 players based on what the players voted on themselves.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown
Yes. Yay.
came in at number 2.
Behind. I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
You know who he came behind? Tom Brady.
No.
Yeah, Tom Brady. So question we have is if he continues his rate of production,
Yes.
which I'm sure you're intimately familiar with,
Yes.
6 consecutive 100 reception seasons.
Yes.
Move on.
Can he go down? Do you think that he can go down as the second greatest receiver of all time?
The second greatest receiver.
Yeah.
I think we should call Terrell up right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And see.
To see if
see
how
what
he feels
thinks, what he
behind
thinks.
Jerry.
Yeah.
I danced with Jerry Rice once.
Really?
Danced
I
with a
did.
goat.
Danced with a goat. I did. He was still playing back then.
But you see how he didn't even give him a shot at number 1, right?
no.
It's 2.
No.
He's fighting for 2.
Yeah.
Two.
Listen, I actually think that he probably should be at least number 2, with all due respect to our friend Terrell, who I adore and love.
Are you saying Terrell is in
Terrell Owens.
Terrell
Terrell
Owens?
What's that? What's that?
I like him.
You like him?
He's an interesting character.
Interesting. Oh
We
my
could even
God.
talk about that. He
Well,
still
you know,
hasn't come out with what the hell he's why isn't he going to the
He likes him.
He like
Does.
I
He
love me some me.
Listen,
No room for anybody else.
nicest no, he's the nicest
Nicest
guy
guy.
ever.
Yeah.
He really is the nicest guy ever. I think Antonio
Biggest heart.
Brown, I think he will surpass him. I think he will be
So whoa! Are you saying that, and not just because he's your friend, but are you saying that T.O. is the second greatest receiver of all time right now?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Personally, I think so.
Well, who do you think is the second?
I
greatest?
was asking, guys. Do we agree with that?
I actually do.
You agree? Yeah,
I've been saying it for
Yeah.
a while now. Like I'm as much as I can't stand his antics on the field. I don't care what anybody says. There's no way in the world that man should not have been a first ballot. Hall
Oh,
of
there's no
Famer.
question about it.
Right.
No.
And now
question
he's
about
not
it.
going. And now he's not going to the induction ceremony.
I think that has everything to. I don't know because I don't think anything's come out, but I think that has everything to do with which I actually, you know what? Some people don't get the right to make certain statements because it's like you've sort of spoiled the apple cart. He's one of those guys.
Right.
But I think he's making the statement, which is I should have been here in the first place. So I'm not gonna it's almost like, well, we have to do it because I think it had everything to do with the fact that Randy was on there.
Right.
Yep.
And he got in first ballot, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, they knew. I don't care what they
Yeah.
say and all the exposés and conversations that writers have. They knew that we can't put Randy in and not put T.O. in.
There are
Right.
reasons not for people not to be first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He displayed none of those reasons.
No, you're absolutely right.
He didn't break any rules.
Nope.
He didn't break any laws.
Nope.
As much as he gets on your nerves, he came to play
Let me
every
tell you.
game.
Play hard every game. He did not let people down.
Right.
And
I respect that.
when you talk to him, and then my husband's made a comment and I'll share it with you in a minute, but the fact of the matter is T.O. knows that it's entertainment.
Yep.
And to his, I think, detriment.
Bring your popcorn, baby.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And he played that. And you either loved him or hated him for it. But the reality of it is he made the game more fun to watch because he was going to do stuff like that.
And he
And
was
had the
just-
performance to back it up.
He
Sorry.
was a decade late for his generation. I mean, for his performance. 'Cause he
That's
was.
true.
I mean, if he were that guy in today's social media age, completely
Thank
different
you.
story.
Because
Totally.
they allow
He was just too
they
late.
allow players to celebrate
Yeah,
now.
Yeah.
he
They
was
want
just too
that.
early.
Yeah.
He was just
Yeah.
too early. He would have been a completely different story. I mean, this wouldn't be a conversation at all.
So in
What?
Different world.
5 minutes?
So in your mind, Antonio
Sorry,
Brown
just
is
blew
already
your ears
past.
out.
Antonio Brown is past T already.
Or
no,
he-
I
or
think
he will.
I think
Or he
he will
will.
be. But I just want to add that my husband has this conjecture, and I'll throw it out there, that maybe one of the reasons is that T.O. wants to make a real comeback. That, he's been kind of planting that seed.
Because once it happens, it's over with. Once he's into the hall, he knows it's over with. And I feel like he still feels he can play.
But he's still being inducted. He's just not participating in the ceremony.
Yeah, so whether you're inducted or exactly, that's what I said.
Yeah.
It's a mental thing with him. He still thinks he can play.
Well, he is in phenomenal shape.
He is.
And
we saw the 440.
I would not be surprised
if
he came back and did an incredible job.
Well, he was still running 440 when he was with Les's Raiders and wasn't catching the ball. I mean,
when was he with the Raiders?
He was with the Seahawks.
I'm sorry.
He was with the Seahawks.
It's like, okay,
Yeah,
now
he was with the Seahawks.
He couldn't catch a ball,
preseason. He could
and they cut him.
So Kenyon, what do you think? You think Antonio Brown has a shot at passing him?
No, I don't.
Really?
Not unless he wins a Super. I think he's got to win a Super Bowl. Like he's got to be Super Bowl winning. I think to get into the Moss, T.O.,
really?
Don Hudson. Let's not forget about Don Hudson. Jerry Rice echelon.
I just think with anyone it takes time. If he stays healthy and he's with the NFL, the average player doesn't last that long.
But at his size, what he's been able to do, he was a 6th round pick, and like the reason why, I mean, the thing about it is like T.O. was big, he was determined, his production was there. But when you look at the intricacies of playing receiver, Antonio Brown is phenomenal.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you something. Playing today with technology keeping you more healthy, I think you have a better shot at playing longer. As honestly, with the remedies and all the things that they do now.
And the way they're adjusting the
5,
game.
10 years. Yeah, I agree with you.
They're making it easier and safer for players to last longer.
And that's a good thing.
I totally agree with you. So I don't know. It's a great question. I think that if he stays healthy, he's gonna. And my guess is he will be on a Super Bowl winning team.
But will he be on the Pittsburgh?
You hope.
Still?
You hope so.
He's on the Super Bowl winning
Listen,
team.
I gotta say, my first love is the Rams. But if the Rams can't win, then I'm all for the Steelers. I'm all in.
So if they
She's
played each
one of
other,
them fans.
if they played each other, who do you go for?
Huh?
If they played each other, who do you go for?
I gotta go. They did the Rams. I gotta go for the Rams. Listen, to date you all, I was at the Super Bowl at the Rose Bowl where the Rams lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would love nothing more than a rematch that I could then walk out with the Rams walking
Redemption.
out the trophy. Yeah,
Redemption's
You
a good
can't
thing.
be in the stadium with one hat on and one in your back pocket. Whoever's winning.
Listen, you can when the stupid owners strip you of every football club for 20 freaking years. What was I supposed to do?
You got to go somewhere.
Got to go
Your
somewhere.
allegiance had to be pledged to
and
someone.
I couldn't be pledged to the Rams when they were in St. Louis because it was like they ripped our hearts out.
Right.
What do you want?
Right.
I had to go someplace.
So we have like 1 minute left, and I want to make sure people know where to find you guys.
At the League AM is our social media handles. That's Twitter, that's Facebook, that's Instagram. Please visit our website, theleagueam.com. You'll see all of our episodes. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is League Ambassadors. Thank you so much for having us on. This was a lot of fun. We can't wait to have you ladies on as well.
Come and do it.
I'm so excited. And
Absolutely.
as always, we really thank everybody who watched us today and who will listen to us on our podcast as well. We are also on.
No, go ahead. I was going to say we'll be back in 2 weeks as a reminder.
2 weeks.
Tuesday, July 10th.
Tuesday, July 10th.
This
We are
went
on.
fast.
It is. We are on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Castbox, Stitcher, all the podcasts. We are on www.thedistilleryinc.com and on YouTube. As always, we really appreciate your time. Thank you, Jarvis, for driving the computer with your magic fingers. I'll say it again. Have a great couple weeks, everybody.
Yikes!
Thank you all.
You keep your magic fingers away.
Thank you all.
Educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.